Welcome to the deep dive. For so long, we've kind of been told that managing our weight means this massive, massive effort, like hours in the gym, super strict diets, always fighting uphill. But what if there were different ways, maybe even, dare I say, lazy ways to actually make progress? And what if a huge part of it isn't just food and exercise, but actually ties back to our emotions? So today, our mission is really to dig deeper than the usual advice and give you a more, well, holistic and actionable picture of weight management. Might even surprise you.
Absolutely. And the sources we're drawing from for this deep dive, they give such a broad, comprehensive view. It's really quite impressive. We're going to look at, planned exercise, yes, but also those small, subtle daily movements. And crucially, that mind-body link with eating habits gets overlooked way too often. The goal here is to pull out the key stuff, the really useful insights you can actually take away and use.
Exactly. And to do that, we've really dug into some interesting material. One source really unpacks the science behind physical activity, exercise, all that. Another one is full of these, frankly, brilliant little lazy hacks for wellness, very practical. And a third one zones right in on emotional eating and how to get a handle on it. So we're going to try and weave all these different threads together for you, make it make sense as a whole picture. Okay, let's get into it. So physical activity. When we hear that, I think for a lot of us, it's straight to like sweaty gym sessions, marathon running, that kind of thing, right? But the sources we looked at, they actually define it much more broadly. They basically say it's any movement using energy beyond just, existing your basic metabolic rate. So yeah, that includes workouts, obviously, but also this thing they call NEAT, non-exercise activity. So apart from hitting the gym, what's the big takeaway there about just moving through your day?
Well, what's great about that broader definition is how accessible it makes things. The World Health Organization, the WHO, they actually have a target that fits perfectly into that NEAT category. They suggest aiming for about 6,000 to 10,000 steps a day. And that's not necessarily about structured workouts. It's more about weaving movement into your life naturally, almost without thinking. So yeah, taking the stairs, parking a bit further away, that stuff actually counts. It contributes.
That's such an important point. It really changes how you see opportunities for movement everywhere. Okay, so you have that general everyday movement, that neat, and then you've got the more purposeful, planned exercise. For adults, the guideline seems to be about 150 to 300 minutes a week of moderate stuff, or 75 to 150 if you're going high intensity. Given all that, what did the sources say that maybe felt a bit surprising or, counterintuitive about setting up an exercise routine that actually works?
Well, yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you design something you'll actually stick with? The sources bring up this model, FITE, F-I-T-T-E. It stands for frequency, how often, intensity, how hard, type like cardio, weights, stretching, time, how long. And the last E, crucially, is enjoyment, picking things you actually like doing. That's what makes it stick. So the real insight isn't just what you do, but how you feel about it. Enjoyment is just as critical as, say, the intensity.
Yeah, I found that really helpful too. And they break it down by goal, which is great. Like if you want better body composition or heart health, go for aerobic stuff, running, cycling, whatever. Building strength, resistance training, makes sense. Flexibility, stretching, yoga. It's a whole system, starting with a warm-up, getting blood flowing, then the main workout and a cool down. Very logical.
And if you sort of zoom out, connect this back, it really means thinking bigger than just exercise as this separate hard thing you have to do. It's about integrating movement in all its forms, making it just part of how you live, which actually leads us really nicely into those lazy weight loss hacks.
Right. This next bit from the sources, it's like a totally different angle because, okay, activity is important, we get that. But the sources also stress that weight loss is often like 80% about your diet. And these lazy hacks, they're all about tweaking your environment, your choices, so the healthy option becomes the easy option, often without much conscious thought. It's about working smarter, right? Not always harder. We've all tried just gritting our teeth and using willpower. It's exhausting. These sources show a way that, well, maybe makes it simpler.
Exactly. And what's really insightful there is this kind of philosophy that putting in less effort, in a way, can actually lead to more results
Right.
because you avoid burnout. It's about building these kind of consistent habits that just stack up over time.
Yeah.
These hacks really tap into behavioral science to make healthy choices almost automatic. Takes the pressure off your willpower,
Right.
reduces that fatigue.
Okay, so what does that look like day to day? Let's get into some specific examples of these lazy hacks. First one, the pre-meal water thing. Super simple. Drink a big glass of water maybe 15-20 minutes before you eat. Zero effort. Helps you feel a bit fuller so you naturally eat a bit less. Easy win. Then there's fiber first. So eating your veggies, the non-starchy ones, at the start of your meal. Apparently this slows down digestion, keeps blood sugar more stable, and again, helps you feel full faster, helps stop you overdoing it.
Yeah, and building right on that is the protein at every meal idea, especially breakfast. Protein is just incredibly filling. It keeps hunger away for longer, and it helps you hang on to muscle mass while you're losing weight. It's a small shift, but it can make a huge difference in managing cravings later in the day, stopping that 3 p.m. slump where you just reach for anything.
I love the simplicity of the 2-minute movement rule. This one's great. Instead of just sitting there for hours on end, set a timer, get up, move around for just 2 minutes every hour. Walk and get water, do a couple of squats by your desk, stretch a bit, whatever. This boosts that NEAT we mentioned, non-exercise activity, thermogenesis. Burns extra calories all day without feeling like a proper workout. It's tiny, but adds up. And talking about lazy, how about sleep? Strategic sleep.
Oh, sleep might just be the ultimate lazy but incredibly powerful weight management tool. Seriously, getting those 7 to 9 hours of good quality sleep, it directly affects your hunger hormones. You've got ghrelin, which makes you hungry, and leptin, which signals fullness. Sleep helps keep those in balance. Plus, it helps manage cortisol, that stress hormone that can tell your body to store fat. Basically, when you sleep well, your body's just better at regulating itself. It doesn't send out those desperate feed me now signals as much.
And for portion control, this one's clever. The plate swap. Just use a smaller plate, like swap your big dinner plate for a salad plate for your main meals. Your plate still looks full, visually satisfying, but you automatically eat less without feeling like you're missing out. It's a neat psychological trick. And finally, the out of sight, out of mind hack. Classic, but effective. Get the tempting, unhealthy stuff out of your immediate environment. If it's not in the cupboard or the fridge, you can't just grab it mindlessly. It stops those willpower battles before they even begin. And who wouldn't want fewer of those?
Okay, so pulling these different ideas together, sustainable weight management, it's clearly about more than just hardcore exercise or clever food tricks. There's this massive piece, often missed, which is understanding and managing emotional eating. It's all about how your mood, your food choices, and your weight were all interconnected.
So true. The sources really highlight that the strongest cravings often pop up when you're feeling emotionally vulnerable. Emotional eating becomes this way to sort of numb or soothe negative feelings. Things like stress, anger, fear, boredom, loneliness, big life changes, or even just daily annoyances, work stress, relationship issues, being tired, money worries, they can all trigger it. It's a really common coping mechanism, but yeah, it can quickly turn into a cycle that doesn't help.
Exactly. It creates this negative loop. You eat for comfort, feel a bit better maybe for a minute, but then the negative feelings come back. And on top of that, you often feel guilty or ashamed because you feel like you've derailed your weight goals, which ironically can then trigger more emotional eating. It's a really vicious cycle. The key is starting to recognize that pattern in yourself and finding ways to step in.
So how do you break out of it? The sources had some really great practical strategies, like keeping a food diary. Not for calorie counting necessarily, but to spot links between your mood and what you reach for. Patterns emerge. Taming stress is huge too. Trying things like yoga, meditation, even just simple deep breathing exercises can tackle one of the biggest triggers head on. And doing a hunger reality check. Asking yourself, is this physical hunger, stomach rumbling, needing energy, or is it emotional? If you ate recently and your stomach's not growling, chances are it's emotional. Just pausing to ask, am I really hungry or am I feeling something else?
Yeah, and the advice is so down to earth, like seeking support, talking to family, friends, maybe joining a support group. That accountability and shared experience can be really powerful. Fighting boredom is another one. If you eat when you're bored, find distractions. Go for a walk, watch something, listen to music, call someone, divert your attention. And the takeaway temptation idea applies here too. Don't keep those specific comfort foods you always turn to right there in the house. And maybe avoid grocery shopping when you're feeling really down or stressed.
Oh, and this is critical. Don't deprive yourself. This was a key point. Being overly restrictive, cutting calories way too low, banning all treats, that can actually backfire and ramp up cravings, especially when emotions run high. So eating enough healthy, satisfying food and allowing for planned, occasional treats can actually help manage those intense urges. Makes it feel less like a punishment. And if you do get hungry between meals, snack healthy. Choose stuff like fruit, veggies, and dip, nuts, maybe lighter versions of things you enjoy.
And finally, maybe the most important one, learn from setbacks because they happen. If you have an episode of emotional eating, the advice is forgive yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Try to understand what triggered it, learn from it, and start fresh the next day. Focus on the positive changes you're making, not just the slip-up.
Yeah.
And importantly, if you've tried these self-help strategies and it still feels overwhelming, the sources strongly suggest considering professional help. Therapy can really help uncover root causes and build coping skills. Sometimes there might even be an underlying eating disorder that needs addressing.
Okay, so as we kind of bring this deep dive to a close, let's quickly recap the main threads. We started by really broadening that idea of physical activity. It's not just the gym, it's also that neat non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Remember the WHO's 6,000 to 10,000 steps a day goal? And for planned exercise, we talked about the VESI model: frequency, intensity, type, time, and crucially, enjoyment, making it sustainable. Then we shifted into those pretty clever lazy weight loss hacks. Remember the simple power of drinking water before meals, prioritizing fiber and protein, especially at breakfast, that great 2-minute movement rule every hour, getting enough sleep 7 to 9 hours, and the psychological tricks like the plate swap and getting tempting foods out of sight, out of mind.
And we wove that all together, stressing that lasting weight management is, well, it's more complex than just sweating buckets or eating perfectly. It involves optimizing your environment, making healthy choices easier, and, so importantly, getting a handle on emotional eating. We looked at common triggers: stress, boredom, sadness, all those usual suspects, and that tough negative cycle it can create. And we covered practical ways to manage it. Things like keeping a food diary, managing stress through yoga or breathing, doing that hunger reality check, getting support, finding distractions for boredom, removing temptation, not depriving yourself too much, snacking smarter, and always learning from setbacks, remembering that professional help is an option too, if needed.
So for you listening, maybe take a second now to think. Which of those lazy hacks or emotional eating strategies really click for you? Which one feels like something you could actually maybe easily start incorporating into your routine? Like right now. Just remember, progress often comes from those small, consistent habits stacking up over time. It's not always about massive, heroic efforts.
And maybe here's a final thought to chew on. Think about how much energy you currently spend sort of fighting against your own habits or cravings. What if, instead, you channeled some of that energy into making the healthy choice the genuinely easiest choice in your environment? So identify just one small, maybe even seemingly lazy change you could make today. Ask yourself, what if wellness could actually feel?